In this tutorial, I will explain the details of the manufacturing module. When you open Netforce, you will see on the right side the main menu. You have different modules. The ones which we are looking into in particular is this manufacturing module. First of all, where can you find the documentation? You have documentation here in the Help Center. You can click this Help Center on the top right of the screen, and you can select the module which you would like to explore. I will go back to the main screen. Beside this Help Center, we have also prepared a detailed documentation for the manufacturing module. I will show you the content of this information. You have here different subjects. You have subjects, configurations, manufacturing settings, material flow, manufacturing process flow, how to make a production forecast, how to create production orders, split production orders, etc. You have also some explanation on the manufacturing costing side. So let's go first and show you the concept of this manufacturing module and how it is applied for your production. If I look to the manufacturing material flow here, in your case, the material flow is coming from, the raw material is coming from suppliers. The raw material has to pass the incoming inspection. From the incoming inspection, non-conforming raw material goes to a scrap warehouse. In this scrap warehouse, you can decide whether you claim that back to the supplier or whether you request replacement items from your suppliers. When the item is passing material incoming inspection, it will go to the raw material warehouse. It can happen that you have subcontractors, for example, for the mirror. In that case, the raw material to assemble the mirror will be sent to the subcontractor, and the subcontractor will actually deliver the semi-product back to the incoming inspection area where it will be checked, and if it passes, it will go to the raw material warehouse. Actually, this is a semi-finished product. You have one production line. For this production line, you have different locations. Here, in this particular case, I have mentioned 3 locations. You can have 3, 4, 5, or as much as you want. So the raw material will be delivered to those line locations where the items will be used in the assembly line. In your case, you have only one assembly line. You can have actually many more assembly lines. When the product is finally assembled, it will go to an outgoing inspection area, quality control. When you have defaults in your scooters, for example, it will move to a repair location where it can be repaired. Items or semi-finished goods are going which are finished goods which are approved will go to the finished good warehouse. So this is a very basic flow from suppliers, incoming inspection, raw material warehouse, and the different locations on the assembly line, final inspection, and then finished good warehouse. So before you actually start creating production orders, you have to make sure that all the configurations and settings are properly done. We will discuss that now in a little bit more detail. I go back to the Netforce system. The important thing, of course, is products. In products, you have finished goods and you have semi-finished goods and you have raw material. If you click on products here, you will see the list of the products we have entered for this particular exercise. You will see raw material like wheels, frame, you have the engine. You have also a finished good motorcycle. We have one type, that is the basic type, and then we have here a motorcycle deluxe, just to indicate that you can have different type of motorcycles or models in your production line. Then you have a semi-finished product, which is the mirror, because the mirror is actually assembled with your subcontractor. And you have here the washer, which you send to your supplier or subcontractor to produce this mirror. So when you look to the when you go into the product, there are a few things which are important. Here I go to the wheel. The wheel, it has a purchase price, purchase currency. So that means if you take this item from, for example, from Europe, it will be euro. If you take it from China, most probably it will be US dollar. You can put the purchase currency here, which you can select. And you can put the currency rate here and the purchase price. We have estimated shipping charge to be 7% and import duty to be 15%. Actually, those charges are estimated charges and they can be changed. And they will only be used in to calculate or the estimated landed cost of that item. If you want to sell this item, this wheel, to customers, you will need a sales price. We have put here list price, and it will also, you see, it will calculate the gross profit on that item based on list price and landed cost. In this case, you have profit of 59%. You have also a sales tab. If you want to sell that item as a spare part, you should tick this box. Purchasing, you can have different suppliers. Sequence number 1 is a default supplier with a supplier product code. This supplier is a second alternative. This supplier can have a different supplier code, and also the names for the supplier can be different. Important is to put here the lead time of this raw material. This lead time will be used to determine when you have to place the purchase order for that item. So in this case here, the lead time is 30 days. That is the time between your order to the supplier and the due date that the part will arrive in your warehouse. 30 days. Important also here is the inventory setting. Finally, this product will be stored in the raw material warehouse, and you can give a bin location. It will also show, if you go to that product, it will show the actual stock of that item in your raw material warehouse. In this case, we have 11 items in stock. So important is, of course, the code, the product code, which is the SKU, the unit of measure, select the correct product type, which is stockable, select the procurement method, which is make to stock. Actually, the most important thing is that this supply method is purchase. And then, of course, important is also to have the lead time of that product and information whether that product can be sold as a spare part or not. So I think this is quite simple. When you go to this product, you will see here that you have a product category. In this case, we have different product categories: selection, we have finished goods, raw material local, raw material overseas, and semi-finished goods. Actually, those product categories you can make, you can decide by yourself, and you can configure that. This is done in the setting screen here. Product categories can be created or edited via the setting menu in the product submenu. You go to settings, you click product categories. Here you see that we have a number of product categories already configured: finished goods, raw material local, raw material overseas, and semi-finished goods. A few things are important to know. If you click one product category, you will see all the products related to that product category. Since we configure the accounting dimensions in the product category, when you add new products, they will automatically be configured correctly. When you go into the accounting menu, you will see the accounts which are configured for that product category. Important to know is that you have here a costing method which is standard cost. Standard cost is actually used for semi-finished products and finished products. Semi-finished product is, for example, the mirror, and the standard cost is the price you agreed with that subcontractor. For finished goods, you have a standard cost, and in the production module, you will be able to calculate the actual cost and thereby also the cost variance, that is the difference between the actual and the standard cost. So as mentioned before, when you go to the product category, you will see the different products belonging to this product category. I have selected the product category finished goods. You will see there are two products, motorcycle and motorcycle deluxe, with that product category finished goods. If you click on one motorcycle, for example, deluxe, you will go to all the settings of the product. There is one small difference with raw material and finished good and semi-finished good, and that is the supply method. Of course, for raw material, the supply method is purchase. For finished good, the supply method should be configured as production and make to order. So this is a small difference between raw material and finished goods. I want to stress some important settings in the products. When you go to the wheel, which is a raw material, and you go to the purchasing tab, you see the purchase lead time of that product is 30 days. That means the supplier will need 30 days to deliver you the product when he receives your purchase order. This is raw material, so there is no manufacturing. So that means manufacturing lead time is not used. If you go to a finished product, you will see there is no purchasing lead time because you don't purchase this semi-product or finished good, you make it yourself. So no purchase lead time, but when you go to the manufacturing tab, you will see here you have a manufacturing lead time. Be careful, the manufacturing lead time is the time required to process the order. That means process the order, you receive the order or you receive the forecast, and it will take you 7 days to process that order. This manufacturing lead time is not the same as the put-through time. Put-through time, that is a time you require in each step of your manufacturing process, the minutes you require to produce that motorcycle. The manufacturing lead time is just an indication. If somebody would order one motorcycle and you have no stock, you would be able to deliver that motorcycle within 7 days. It's not the same as the put-through time. Another important another important setting is the lot. If you have a lot or a serial number, is not used for every raw material. For example, this is a wheel. When you go to the inventory tab, you will see there is no required lot and there is no unique lot. It's different with the finished good, because the finished good, the motorcycle, needs a lot when you enter that into the finished good warehouse. So if I go to products again, I select the motorcycle and I go to inventory. Take care that this item requires a lot and it's a unique lot. Unique lot means one serial number for one motorcycle. It's not the same as just a lot. It needs a required lot and it's a unique lot. This is important because, for example, you order 10 engines or 10, you order 10 engines or motors, or you deliver 10 motorcycles. When you receive that from the production line, you will not see one line item with a quantity of 20. You will see one line item with a quantity of 1, because for every item you have to enter a lot. If you have, for example, an engine, that item has also a serial number. When you go to inventory, you will see that item requires a lot and requires a unique lot. For example, you need 50 or 100 engines. You will make a purchase order with the SKU number, SKU code here, and you will put there 20 or 100 engines as quantity. When you receive the engines, in your good receipt, it will automatically split the 20 or 50 or 100 quantities into different lines so that you are able to scan the serial number of the engine. So this is important, that for finished goods and for items where you have a serial number, for example, engine, you configure correctly this selection, required lot and unique lot. So this is important. One more detail on the product settings, and that is some setting related to the pricing. When you go to the products, you see you have the raw material and you have the finished products or semi-finished products. When you click in one of the products, you will be able to select the costing method, which is FIFO, LIFO, weighted average, or standard cost. So it's up to you to decide which costing method you would like to use. One thing which is, I think, important to know is that for finished goods, as said earlier, and semi-finished goods, you have to use a standard cost method. To do that, you select here standard cost. First, I will do it only for semi products and finished products. So I go back to the products. Here I have a frame, so that is not the one I want to adjust or check. I want to check the motorcycle here. The motorcycle is a finished product, so it should follow standard cost. I go to accounting. I check here standard cost. If it is not standard cost, you can change it. And I put the cost price in this tab. This is a standard cost price. The same thing for semi-finished products. For normal raw material, you use either FIFO, LIFO, or weighted average. And of course here the costing is completely different. In that way, in that case, the costing will follow the costing method you have selected. So this is one more important thing. For inventory, you have also some important settings. You have, of course, the stock locations. Stock locations are configured by selecting the setting menu in the inventory module. And you will see we have a few which are already configured. Note that we have a customer location, which is a type customer. And we have also a supplier location, which is called supplier. Yeah. So we have also 3 locations on the assembly line. We have a location which is called scrap. We have the location or the warehouse which is called raw material warehouse. You have an area which is called repair area for finished goods. And then you can also have some branches or showrooms which you can add as well. You have a production location. You have an outgoing inspection location, and you have a location for inventory loss and for incoming inspections, and a location for finished goods. So those are the locations which have to be configured correctly. You have also, beside the stock locations, you have also the stock journals. Stock journals have been created here. For what is a stock journal used? Well, a stock journal is used to determine the sequence number you want to use for that journal. You can configure that here. Here we have a sequence which is called goods issue finished goods. If you click this, for example, if you click this arrow, you will see how this prefix or this sequence number look like. It has a prefix GIA, and then it will show the year and the month, just like you see here. And you can also see the next number, which will automatically be used when you create a good issue. If you go back to the stock journals here, you have also good receive, and you see beside not only the sequence number, you actually also automate the location, the stock move. Here, this good receipt will move items from your supplier to your incoming inspection. So this stock journal automate actually the stock moves. So it's important that this is configured correctly. So you have here a number of stock journals. You have good transfer for finished goods, for example. If I go here you will see that we have another sequence number with a prefix. You will see that if you click here, here is the prefix, good transfer. The same thing, you have the year and then the month and then a number. Go back to the stock journals. So here they are created. It will automate, it will make the stock moves, the entry of stock moves easier. Another thing which, since we are here, is minimum stock rules. This might be interesting. For example, if you have items which you want to have always as in your warehouse. For example, here we say that the engine, which is a raw material for the motorcycle, we say here that there should be a minimum quantity in your stock of 2 and a maximum quantity of 10 for that item. For here, for motorcycle, 1 and 5, for raw material, engine, 2 and 10, for this item, 1 and 10. So when you click here, you will be able to adjust this. What does it do? Well, it will show up in your dashboard when the item comes below minimum stock. There will be here an indication in red that your item is below minimum stock, and then you can actually automatically purchase that item. Here nothing is mentioned here, but you can create a purchase order for that item. The purchase order will be created in draft and will use a default supplier for that item. Besides the product and inventory settings, you have also some settings in the manufacturing module. To go to the manufacturing module, click main menu, go to manufacturing here, and go to settings. So in settings, you have bill of material, work centers, and routings. I will start with the work centers. You actually have, in this case, 4 different work centers. You have the production line, which is the first one. This production line is used, the resource type is equipment, because with this item, we want to record machine utilization. You have here step 1, step 2, and step 3. Those are the line locations. Those here we will follow the resource type human. That means assembly workers. So when you click here in the lines, you will see here the details. You can create additional work centers, but for this particular exercise, we only need 4 different work centers. Right? So another item which is important is the bill of material. In this case, we have 2 bill of material. One for the mirror, because we actually produce this mirror with a subcontractor, but of course that mirror needs some spare parts or raw material which have to be delivered by the manufacturing company. And you have 1 bill of material for motorcycle deluxe. That is one type of motorcycle. So if I click this motorcycle deluxe, you have all the items, the raw material which are used to build or to assemble that motorcycle. So for one motorcycle, you will need 2 wheels, 1 frame, 1 engine, 2 brakes, 1 light, and 2 mirrors. So here you have the raw material which is used to produce that motorcycle. You can say, okay, this is required for one motorcycle. If you have a production order for 10 or 100 motorcycles, it will multiply those quantities. You see here the raw material location is actually the warehouse raw material. The finished good location is finished goods motorcycle, and the production location is production. Those are the locations which you should have already configured in the inventory module. Here you have also routing. The routing. What is the routing? In the routing, you specify the different assembly steps in the different work centers. In work center step 1, we will assemble the wheels and the frame. It will take 5 minutes. Step 2, we will install the engine. It will take 10 minutes. And step 3, we will install the lights, brakes, and the mirror. That takes another 5 minutes. We have also the production line. We didn't put any duration here because that will just follow. We configure that later on. That will follow the normal working time of the assembly line. So the routings you can configure by going to the routings here. If you have different locations, separate locations, you will have separate routings and also separate bill of material. Here there is one bill of material made for the whole process of assembly of a motorcycle on one assembly line. In manufacturing, you have a menu which is called settings. The first one is the general settings you have to configure. Here you see the locations, manufacturing locations. You have, for the raw material warehouse, the location which we configured is raw material warehouse. For the finished good warehouse, we created a finished good warehouse for motorcycle. The factory warehouse, we call it actually production. We have configured this. QC warehouse is the location which we called outgoing inspection. QC scrap warehouse is the location scrap which we have configured. And stock quality control journal is good transfer finished goods. So here you have a good issue for production. Here you have two possibilities. You have partial, full, and manual. We click partial because you actually can accept finished goods even if the complete production order is not completed. If you put manual, you have to manually confirm that you want to accept the finished goods. Full, that means you will only be able to transfer finished goods to the quality control when all finished goods of that production order are made. Here you have one tab where you say that requires semi-finished good quality control. If you don't click that, that means semi-finished goods will automatically go to the next step without any quality control. In this particular case, we have a mirror. This mirror is produced by a subcontractor. When the subcontractor delivers this mirror, it has to go to quality control. So that means we have clicked this require semi-finished good quality control. When you look to the material flow in the manual, in the manufacturing manual, you have seen that we have only one assembly line and we have only one bill of material for one type of motorcycle. You have different colors of motorcycles, so for every color you have one bill of material. So what happens now in your assembly line, when you want to start the production, you actually have to withdraw the raw material from your raw material warehouse. And that material has to be delivered to different line location or line warehouses along your production line. And here you see how that is configured. Here, for example, in step 1, that is the first location, you assemble the wheel and the frame. In the second location, you will assemble the engine. In the third location, you will assemble the brakes and the lights and also the mirror. So those warehouses, those different steps have been configured in the location. So step 1, that's an internal location at the assembly line. Some more information on the bill of materials. In this particular exercise, we have actually two bill of materials. One bill of material for the motorcycle, one bill of material for the mirror. For the motorcycle, we have this kind of products. We require this kind of products. We saw that the engine is a product which requires a specific and unique lot. The other items don't require a specific lot or serial number, and you see the quantity for one motorcycle deluxe and the different line warehouses where those items will be delivered to. In every line warehouse, you will see what kind of activities are done, and for that, you go to the routing of that bill of material. In this bill of material, you see step 1, we assemble wheels and frame. Step 2, we install the engine. And step 3, we install lights, brakes, and mirror. And we have another sequence production line, which is just there to indicate that we are using those activities on one production line. So these activities are done on the production line, and all those work center assembly steps should be completed, and we should have a duration for each assembly step. I go back to the bill of material. In the bill of material, you see we have some information about the location or configuration on the locations which we have done before. So the raw material location is called raw material, the finished good location is called finished good motorcycle, and the production location is called production. The QC location is outgoing inspections. Those are already the configurations we did in the settings for locations. If you go to the other bill of material for the mirror, you see for this mirror we actually have to deliver only 2 washers to that subcontractor, and the subcontractor will deliver you a complete assembled mirror. So the line warehouse for that mirror is actually the supplier, because it is the supplier who will install and use the washers and the mirror. So line warehouse has to be supplier because we will deliver this raw material to the supplier. When you look to the other locations, the raw material location is raw material. The finished good location is also raw material because we said we want to have a quality control of all incoming goods also for the mirror. So that means when the mirror is finalized, the assembly is finalized, it will go to the raw material warehouse. Finally, And the production location is the supplier. The quality control location, before it goes to the finished good location, is in the incoming inspection area. So here you see how those bill of materials are actually using all the settings which we have configured in location and in line warehouses and also in the routing.